Welcome back to the Six Hockey Studios, everybody. I'm Jaden Ho with Kirby Sloan as we get you ready for another GTHL team review. This time, the Toronto Red Wings. Pretty good season for them. They made it into the playoffs this year, and pretty solid roster all around. So let's take a look at the players they have. We'll take a look at the goaltenders first. Michael Calandria, Alexander Santarcia. We'll get a little more in depth with them a little bit later. Let's take a look at their defensemen now. Who stood out as the best defenseman on this team?
I mean, one of my personal favorites in the whole league is Tyron. He is just an exceptional man. The Montreal native has played so well all season on the defensive end. You could really see that he is the core of the defensive team for this Red Wings. So impressive, such a great skater. Only being at 5'11" on the defensive end normally can look like something to hurt you, but he has used it to his advantage. Been really impressive. I also like guys like Mason Wharton. I like guys like Aiden Hagshee, Jaden Connors. These are guys that have really impressed me as a unit and individually. This is a really impressive defensive team.
Mac McAlpine, Avery Rotzino, and Terry Wu filling out the rest of that D core. So a 7-man on that blue line, but all of them very talented and a very deep group for these Red Wings. Let's take a look now at the forwards. Another deep group, lots of talent top to bottom. Who stood out for you on the front end?
I find this team is really talented on the forwards. They have multiple guys, and that's what helps lead to some great depth for them. They have guys like Willem Kerr, Tyron Fevry, Tyler Kedzo, Zach Mascard, Nathaniel Adams. These are all guys I really like. Their compete level is what has really impressed me. When you watch them on the ice, this team clearly wants to win. They clearly like playing with each other. You can see that sort of enjoyment where they know how each other's play styles are and they help complement to that. And that's what makes this team such a unit on the offensive end.
Frankie Castiglione, another one of those top 6 forwards on this team. As we take a look at the rest of the forward roster here, Jonathan Morello, Amari Sellers, Lucas Suarez, Mark Zhang, filling out the rest of that front end. As we take a look now at the league standings, 8th place in the league for the Red Wings this year, just barely making it into those playoffs over the Toronto Young Nationals. It was a heated battle between those two teams down the stretch to try and get that final spot. Just below the Don Mills Flyers, a 7-14-7 record for a .375 win percentage. That's a 10-13-5 record for a .446 win percentage for the Red Wings. That's my apologies, everybody. So a solid season, just under that 500 mark, and making it into the playoffs. So I think a success, especially in such a talented league as the GTHL. So we'll take a look now at the goaltending tandem. Alexander Santarcia, Michael Calandria, the two goaltenders. Santarcia, what do you have on him?
What I liked about Santarcia, they really liked to put him in some of those bigger games when they were playing some big teams. He was prepared for the battle. He was always ready for this team, and you could tell that he got along really well with his defensemen. He was always communicating with them. They were always playing as a unit. It was almost like he was that third man on defense, and it made it really impressive to watch just how good of a unit they were. And you notice that he was fine slowing down the game at times. If he knew guys on the shift had been out for a long time, he wasn't afraid to just trap the puck, get a whistle, really slow down the pace of the game. He's never afraid to just control it. He's great setting up his teammates on the rush. He sees opportunities to generate offense, and he'll jump on those. I love his positioning. When I would watch him, he slid really, really well. He would fill out that net. He would get there in time really well, shifting between the posts, and was very actively watching the puck. His vision really impressed me. He was a goalie that you just knew what you were getting. This team clearly felt comfortable around him and almost completed the entire team as a unit. And he's somebody they liked playing with, they liked having in net, and he's a big part to the reason they made playoffs and they had some success.
And the other goaltender, Michael Calandria, he's just one of those goaltenders who's just solid all around. He might not be the one making the big, flashy saves, but he's always in position. He's always getting square to the puck, and he's going to make some of those more difficult saves look pretty easy. He's always square. He's got quick lateral movements so that he's not always trying to stretch out when you try and get him moving side to side. He can get square very quickly using that speed, using that terrific skating, that terrific edge work to really get in front of pucks and stop them squarely and just kind of swallow up those rebounds. He's got some of the best rebound control that I've seen. He always swallows up those pucks, and if there is a rebound, he's directing it into the corner. And that makes it so much more difficult to score on him, not getting those good second chance opportunities. So two great goaltenders for this Red Wings team, and there's a big part of why they made the playoffs this year. As we'll get into our player spotlight now, Ty Henry and Jonathan Morello, two players that we want to highlight from this team. What do you have on Ty Henry?
Yeah, I talked about Henry earlier. I mean, There was a reason I wanted to bring him up, and he was just so effective with this team. And what he was really effective is without the puck, and that's not something you see with a lot of players. He made simple yet effective plays, and his consistency is something I really watched out for. In all the games we watched of his, all the games we commentated, you can really see that his game between them all was very consistent. Very few mistakes, very few repeated mistakes in that sense. If we did catch something, you notice that he doesn't do it again. He learns from his mistakes, which is something you like seeing and something that's really going to translate to the OHL. You need guys that can learn from their mistakes. He plays really aggressive in the neutral zone and prevents opponents from entering the team zone. Really good active stick. He's pushing them to the outside. He's really good along the boards. He's really controlling this pace. He's not somebody that you're going to beat easily. He's a very good skater. He's forcing players to the outside, and he's beating them to the puck if they even lose control for a second, and he can generate offense with that quick first step. When you see him on 1v1, when he's skating backwards, it's very tough to beat him. Almost impossible, you'd almost say. Very good at recovering the puck and then generating that offense, and that's why I love the Montreal native.
Yeah, another player who's really important for this Red Wings team, Jonathan Morello. He's just got this great ability. He reads and reacts to plays so quickly. And when a play changes, he can make adjustments as well. He can change gears when the game is speeding up, or he can slow it down to try and adapt to that kind of play as well. He's got great hands, and he protects the puck really well. It's really hard to get the puck away from him. He's got a little bit of a bite in his game. He's willing to kind of play right on that edge, and that's something that a lot of coaches really like to see. That player who's willing to play on the edge, who's willing to go to the dirty areas, battle in front of the net, battle in the corners, and he's just such a determined player, especially when he has the puck. It's just so difficult to get it off of his stick. He has so much strength physically, and he uses it so well, and that combined with his competitiveness and his just desire to hold on to that puck makes it so difficult to knock it away. So that makes him such a dangerous power forward. He can get to the net, he can bring the puck with him, and really create chances using his size, using his strength, and using that determination that he has. And he's also really determined defensively. He always comes back on the back check. He's always trying to take the puck off of other teams as they're on the rush, and he's always in good position in the defensive zone. He supports his D-men really well, and he's very calm, and he moves the play up the ice in transition once he makes that steal. So a really good all-around player in Jonathan Morello. So let's take a look now at our draft tiers. We've divided up the draft into some of the where some of these players might go. So none of the Red Wings are really in those high-end rounds. Obviously, not the best team in this league, finishing 8th, so that might factor into it, but still so much talent and so many players who may get drafted. So who do you have going in that 6th to 9th round range?
Yeah, you touched on it, though, right there, that I think this was a team that was just hurt by standings and just placement. They're not going to get the same love that other teams will just simply because they ended up 8th, but I don't think that means they don't have some hidden gems, some guys that I believe are sleeper picks. And I mean, in those earlier 6 to 9 rounds, I'm looking at guys like Tyron and Zach Muscard. Again, we talked about Henry. There's a reason I think he'd be really effective and his game will translate to the OHL. I think if you are getting him in that 6th round, he is a steal. He's probably a bit of a developmental player. You'll take him for a year, really make sure you work out those problems in his game. But come year 2 in the OHL, I think he could really be deadly. The same thing goes for Muscard. Bit of a project player, but you're looking 2 years ahead. He's somebody that I think can really do damage in the OHL.
And looking down at the rest of the draft rounds, 10 through 15, you got Amari Sellers, Tyron Fevry, who I think could definitely be a big steal. He's a dynamic player. Jonathan Morello, who we talked about, and Lucas Suarez. So still lots of talent. Some of those guys, like you said, maybe project players, maybe a bit of a sleeper pick, but still plenty of opportunities for these guys to turn into solid OHL and very likely professional level players in the near future. So we're looking forward to see how the Toronto Red Wings do at the upcoming OHL draft, and we're looking forward to see how they do in the rest of their professional careers. Thank you for joining us for this GTHL team review. Jaden Ho for Kirby, Sloan, and everybody else here at the Six Hockey. We'll see you next time.